It's the junior Coxed Falls between Sir William Borlase Grammar School on the Berkshire station and Henley Rowing Club. None other than Henley Rowing Club.
It's just a local job.
Station. Exactly, local derby between these two.
And there they are, they're off.
Always perform well at this level. Sir William Borlase, coached by Tom Wilkinson and Harry Lyons. They've won a succession of medals at championship girls categories at the National Schools Regatta and performed well at domestic regattas in the likes of Wallingford and Marlow and Metropolitan Regatta, so I expect a big performance from these girls. But of course, Henley Rowing Club, the bandwagon rolls on.
Well, they're both off pretty sharpish, and Henley have taken an edge.
I'd say that's a third of a length.
Yeah.
And stretching.
Passing the temple. That's quite impressive off the start.
That's strong. And the beauty of that particular start is that it didn't look like it was just a one move. It looked like it's going every single stroke, they're moving away. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not a fluke like some of the starts we've seen today. It's not deceptive. It looks like Henley do have more horsepower in the opening stages.
This was a sort of controlled burn from a big engine.
Measured.
Yeah.
And as we watch, Henley are just rowing away here. Stretching out further and further. I think they've already broken clear. Impressive stuff there from Henley.
What, 25 strokes?
Gone. I'll have to say it take a brave man to bet against these girls. It did always take a brave man to bet against Henley Rowing Club, but particularly this crew. They look measured, controlled and calm. Not under a huge amount of pressure, it has to be said. And every straight they're just inching away their bow ball, stretching out.
But that is powerful, isn't it? Look at it.
You can hear the commentary of the launches here in the background, adding to the aesthetics of Henley Royal Regatta. But it is Henley Rowing Club, home crew, home club, obviously race on this and train and race on this stretch umpteen times through the year, and they are just moving away, stroke by stroke, inch by inch. And that's probably 2.5 lengths now.
Must be. And, 2.5 lengths and counting.
Of course, I do feel for crews who come up against an opponent of this calibre.
Yeah.
Not just up against Henley, against any opponent who, gives them a hiding. I think that's probably the best way of phrasing it.
If you know in your heart of hearts by the end of the island that you're stuffed, it's not good, is it? It's not good for the morale.
No,
I mean, you said earlier that, you feel there's no shame in losing to a crew of that quite calibre, etc., but that's true. But it is not fun losing.
Doesn't make it any easier to swallow.
And it's not fun having it emphasised that the gap between you and the best is big.
Absolutely.
Not nice.
And especially Sir William Borlase School, a proud school themselves. Plenty of pedigree across junior women's rowing.
Especially if you remember that rowing, like any other sport, whatever you say about, the league tables and what we're going to win and what we're not going to win, people do it for fun. If it's not fun, you don't do it.
Absolutely.
So if it makes you miserable, bang,
No
there
fun.
goes another crew, another race, Godolphin and Gloucester-Hartpury.
Yes, the second quarter final of the junior Coxed Falls, race 2-1-0. I think Henley Rowing Club had wrapped up that previous one. And so we're moving on. So it's Godolphin School on the Berkshire station and Gloucester-Hartpury, who I have to earmark as possible favourites for this event. They were dominant in the junior the championship girls falls at the National Schools Regatta. They won by the proverbial mile. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in this event.
Right.
Of course, coached by Tom Petitius. They've swapped 2 blades for 1 this year. They obviously sculled in the previous 2 years and 2 times winners of the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup, which is about the most prestigious event you can win as a junior girls rower.
Yes.
I'm sure they'll probably switch up to 2 blades for the event, which comes up in a couple of weeks' time. But at the moment, sticking to 1 blade for a Coxed Four. Looking good, but I wouldn't say dominant here. If anything, Godolphin. What do we think?
Nobody's dominating anything here, but...
I know Gloucester-Hartpury and I know their training pattern, and Tom always teaches his crews to have a particularly strong middle section. I mean, to really take the heart from the race, and they're going to need that, these girls. I'm not sure if this is the top Gloucester-Hartpury crew, but Godolphin are having a smashing race.
They are indeed. Well, Gloucester-Hartpury is still down.
I'm sure Tom will be disappointed with this performance so far, but I think, unless my eyes deceive me and the drone footage is, I think it's probably supporting me, Gloucester are just clawing back that deficit.
Well, you talked about it's the middle 500 they've really got to go at, and
they're going to need to, because what is important to remember is these crews have 400 metres less to row than a conventional multi-lane course.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they need to time their pushes a bit earlier, need to stage everything a bit earlier, and as we watch, look at that drone footage, stunning stuff. Look at the Henley Church in the distance, and it is Gloucester-Hartpury who, stroke by stroke, are edging ahead.
It is getting pretty close. A tad adjacent, as my old friend Desmond Hill used to say.
Well, I think a tad adjacent, I think it's going to be Gloucester-Hartpury who take the lead very shortly.
I think they're going to do it, yeah.
Yeah, impressive stuff from those girls. What I love about a crew like that is there's no panic, there's no sense of, oh my goodness me, we're down. It's, don't worry, we've got this under control. We know our race plan, we'll stick to our race plan.
I was going to say, we will row our race.
Exactly.
If you're going to react, if you're going to row a race by reacting to everything the opponents do, then you're going to lose every time.
Absolutely.
You've got to have a race plan and stick to it.
Row your own race, and there you go. It's paying dividends for
and
Gloucester-Hartpury. Half a length up, with about 600 metres left to row, just coming past on commentary gantry, and you'd have to say at this point, Gloucester-Hartpury look like the better of the two crews on the course.
Yeah. I mean, basically, you know how quickly you can cover that course, and that's the important point. And certainly, how you race the other side is another matter. But you've got to stick to your plan. Otherwise, for instance, you find yourself in the last 20 strokes with no gas in the tank. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Race your own race plan, and I think that's paying off for Gloucester-Hartpury. They've probably stretched out to about a length now, and looking not comfortable, but in control, I think. And it's going to take a brave man to bet against them now, and that tactic might not pay off against some of the other crews in this event. You know, we've already seen Henley dominate their quarterfinals, so I wouldn't be quite so relaxed and quite so.
No, well, if Henley take 2 lengths off them in the first 500 metres, they're not going to be able to just relax.
Absolutely. So we'll head back to the start for the third quarter-final. Our penultimate race of the day, race 211, quarter-final of the Junior Coxed Fours, Surbiton High School on the Berkshire station, and Lady Eleanor Holles on the Buckinghamshire station. Now, Lady Eleanor Holles, one of your favourite schools, Robin.
I didn't say that. I mean, I've never been there. It's just that I noticed that they tend to win things quite a lot. Well, you know, it's all part of the Hampton setup, and here they go. And
look at that, Lady Eleanor Holles stretched right out. That's a length already.
I was going to say, guess who's in the lead?
Yeah, I think that's impressive stuff actually, and it's nice the aerial shot, so we can tell it's Lady Eleanor Holles,
and you
they've
can
got
see
such a distinctive trim on their boat,
and you can see how nicely they're rowing too.
Absolutely, that's impressive stuff, I have to say.
Yeah,
sitting right out, length and a half now at this stage, and rowing well, which is always important, as I said. You've got to maintain the form. As you go down the course with 500 metres left to row, and the lactic acid just gives you that little squeeze in the legs, and your mind thinks, ooh, another 2 minutes of this? No thanks. You've got to have something left in the tank. And often if you don't, you need to be rowing well. And I think this Lady Eleanor Holles crew, if they do come under undue pressure in the closing stages of this quarter-final, I think they'll have enough in the tank anyway, but they're rowing well enough to maintain their form.
Yeah.
Not exactly moving away.
No, but
do they need to?
No, they know where they are. They could move away if they want to. That's the impression I get. They're rowing very nicely. You look, contrast these two crews. You look at their hands. You see how Lady Eleanor Holles are getting their hands away at the end of the stroke, and how it's not quite the same in the other boat. There's a sort of delay about the recovery, which it just doesn't quite work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it is interesting to see the technical differences between the two crews and what's working and what's not. Of course, if you watch Surbiton now, they're actually a recently established boat club.
Yeah.
They've only been on the scene for sort of a few years now, and they've performed well above their station over the last few years. You know, boating crews, the likes of Lola Anderson on board, who's a junior international now, so a fantastic boat club. And they are actually just about staying in touch with Lady Eleanor Holles. You know, they haven't moved away.
They're not being thumped or anything. It's just that Lady Eleanor Holles are, I think, well, technically and in every way, just a better crew than somebody has to be.
Absolutely, I think.
I mean, look at them. They're close.
Just as they come past here, I think that's about a length and a half to Lady Eleanor Holles. Lady Eleanor Holles, so about the same as it was 500 metres down the course, but a length and a half will do the job.
A bit less than a length and a half, I think.
An inch and a half would do the job, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's relatively comfortable.
The fact is that I think Surbiton are staying in touch despite themselves. I mean, you look at their action there, and they're just not going to move the thing fast enough. And the last race of the day has started between Emanuel School on the Berkshire station and St Edward's School on the Buckinghamshire station. This is the last quarter-final of the junior Cox Fours, and they're just going away towards the end of the island.
Neck and neck.
And they are just about neck and neck. Well, I think St Edward's have... I think, sorry, that Emanuel have got the edge here. Emanuel have got perhaps half a length over St Edward's as they come away from the island.
Well, strong stuff from both of these crews, it has to be said. St Edward's School finished second in the B final of Championship Girls Coxless Fours at the National Schools Regatta.
I was going to ask you,
So a crew with a bit of form in the boat. Emanuel School don't seem to have boated a crew at that event. Well, certainly not a crew that progressed to the semi-final stage.
Well, they got a length now.
So I think, probably St Edward's School looking like the class crew at this stage of the race. But again, they're still in touch, aren't they, the crew from St Edward's School?
Yeah. Well, you don't like to dismiss St Edward's, but Emanuel have taken an early lead and gone away from the island with a length, and which is quite impressive.
I mean, for some of these girls, this is obviously junior Coxed Fours, so they're still 18 and younger than that.
Yeah.
I mean, for some of these girls, this will be their first ever row down the Henley course. I mean, I always found it exceptionally difficult to actually concentrate on the rowing when I was paddling alongside, especially at the Regatta, at the Royal. With all the people lining the bank and fantastic scenery. It must be a distraction, but these girls, all the people who have raced today have dealt with it like it wasn't even there.
Well, rule one, eyes in the boat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw a crew last year at the Royal, in the ladies' plate no less, which is for intermediate eights.
Yes.
The Cox was looking at the boat and crashed the 8 into the booms. So
I don't remember that.
He really did. German crew in the ladies' plate on the Friday. Too busy looking out the boat and crashed the crew into the booms. Shocking.
My God, I should think he had a quiet flight home.
I think he did, I saw the boys on the towpath that evening and they were less than impressed.
Yeah.
I think they'd left him at the bottom of the river somewhere, so...
Well, yes, might have been refused re-entry. Well, look at this.
It's still Emanuel School, isn't it?
Teddy's being left well behind.
Yeah.
But 2.5 lengths.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Impressive stuff from those girls as they row down the course in our final race of the day here, the Henley Women's Regatta Race 212. Of course, we're back on air at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Yep. Bright old time. I'll be here with you. I think I'm partnered with somebody. I can't remember quite who it is, but I'll be back here at 8:30 tomorrow morning with the Henley Women's Regatta finals day.
Stan in the morning, yes.
Stan Collingwood, yeah. The fountain of knowledge that man is. I'm sure he'll have plenty to say on what's going on. So it'll be Stan and I on at 8:30 tomorrow morning. But this is the final race, 212, and it is going to be Emanuel School, who round off a fantastic day of racing. Robin, we've had some brilliant races.
It has been a great day, hasn't it? I mean, it's been a great day on and off the water. The racing's been good. The standard of rowing is cracking. It really is good. The atmosphere. You talk to all the officials. Everybody is here because they enjoy it and they love the regatta, and it's a really great day.
And it's great to see, people talk about this intangible London 2012 legacy. But how much of an effect do you think that's had on grassroots rowing in the UK?
Well, it's had an immense effect on grassroots rowing. It seems, from what I read in the papers, that it's had absolutely no effect whatsoever in any other athletic field. But certainly it's had an effect in rowing. There have never been so many people who want to take it up.
Well, I think it helps that GB rowing are just so good.
Well, yes, quite.
And actually, if you want to catch some international rowing this weekend, want to, pry your eyes away, there is the third World Cup underway in Poznan as we speak.
Yep.
And GB Rowing have sent a full team out there. So tune in to, I think it's BBC 1 or 2 tomorrow morning. If you can pry your eyes away from the fantastic racing here at the Henley Women's Regatta, there'll be live coverage of the Poznan, the third World Cup, which is always going to be a fantastic race for GB Rowing. Let's see how they get on out there and wish them the best of luck. But as we come down the course in race 212, the final junior Coxed Fours quarterfinal of the day, and indeed the final race of a full programme here, it is Emanuel School, who are rowing away against a scenic backdrop, pretty comfortably ahead of the crews from St Edward's School.
Yep. And what you will actually do tomorrow is set your machine to record the highlights from Poznan so that you can spend the entire day here, watch the rowing here, and then go home and watch the World Cup regatta.
Yeah, you see, that's the logical option.
Because you wouldn't want to miss anything. Look at this. Here come the crews in the final race of the day.
Yeah, just rowing down towards the finish.
Yep.
Well, I think we'll say goodbye from us here. Thank you very much, Robin.
Well, thank you very much indeed. We've had a great time. Thanks, Tom. And
always a pleasure. If you want to see any results from today, go to hwr.regattaresults.co.uk, www.hwr.regattaresults.co.uk. We'll have the full selection of results available on there. Emanuel School celebrating over the line as they progress to the semi-finals of the Junior Cox Four. So that's all from us here at Henley Women's Regatta. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you bright and early at 8:30 tomorrow morning.